going on, everybody? This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and I'm tired of the disrespect. No, not from your mean comments in the comment section, but for our Seattle Seahawks. Why do teams, why do the media members, and why do even the fans of the NFL continue to downplay how great one of our defensive tackles is? Of course, I'm talking about Leonard Williams. We're already getting into Pro Bowl voting season. Last year, he was left off, was an alternate, had to sneak his way into the Pro Bowl, and they're doing the same thing to him again. He is the best interior defensive lineman in the National Football League, the second best you have on your roster, but more on that in a moment. But I'm tired of the disrespect, and I'm going to tell you why I'm tired of it. Join the family. We already have a bunch of people that are subscribed to the channel. Help us out. Subscribe. And then turn on your notifications. There's a little bell. You're going to ring it. Then you won't miss any of our Seattle Seahawks content coming out here on the channel. And here's the best part. We have daily Seattle Seahawks content coming out. So you don't want to miss any of those videos. Now, right now, at the time of this recording, this is the current landscape for defensive end when it comes to Pro Bowl voting. What you're going to notice, there's a guy at the very top, not Leonard Williams. Down below him, not Leonard Williams. Not Leonard Williams, not Leonard Williams, not Leonard Williams. I'm not going to do it all the way until I get to 9, but that's where Leonard Williams is. At number 9 on the defensive end voting for the Pro Bowl. DeMarcus Lawrence, fancy enough, is number 10. First, put Big Cat in the correct position. He's not really a defensive end. That is kind of technically what he's labeled as because you run a 3-4, but really he's a 3-tech, a.k.a. a defensive tackle. He's lined up on the outside shade of the guard if you go into a 4-man front. So first of all, put him in the correct position because it's not fair to compare him to the edge rushers who are going to get more stats to begin with. Second, he is more impactful than people truly realize. Because if he was at that defensive tackle position, you compared his stats, he jumps off the chart. But even still, he is a constant game wrecker and does a lot of things that don't pop up on the stat sheet. I'm not the only person who believes this. Go check out what his head coach has to say in this quote. Turn the tape on and show me players that are playing better than him. I completely agree with you, Mike. There's no one playing better than Leonard Williams right now if you just watch the games. Look at what he's doing from a position that you are not supposed to get stats from. Leonard Williams is supposed to have like 5 tackles on the year. If he has 2 or 3 sacks in a season, it's a great season. It's week freaking 14 that we're going into. The Seahawks have had a bye. That's why he has 12 games played, and he's one of the top sack getters in the National Football League, and he has a chance to get past his number of last year at 11. He's one of your top tackle getters and one of your top tackle for loss getters in the National Football League and on the Seattle Seahawks. Leonard Williams isn't supposed to do all that, but no one told him not to, so he won't stop. By the way, did I mention he's technically kind of old? He's in his 30s. And he's better than everyone. He had a career resurgence in Seattle. If you just turn on the game tape, half the time he's scaring the running back or the quarterback to getting tackled and sacked by someone else. He's making so many different plays. And yet, people don't watch the Seahawks. And they don't watch interior defensive line play. And they don't watch Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is a complete game wrecker. He's what we call a war daddy because it's going to take 2 or 3 guys to stop him. And he really hasn't been stopped by anybody. I loved when he blew past Will Fries in the last game. Made my heart warm since Will Fries decided to go with Minnesota instead of us. I've kind of given you my piece on why I think Leonard Williams is the best defensive tackle in the National Football League. Do you agree with me? Is what I'm saying true? Type true down below in the comments. Is what I'm saying false? Type false down below in the comments. And then explain your reasoning. This is back to grade school. Show your work. If you don't agree with me, you better have facts. Or else I'm going to come at you in the comment section. I do want to pivot a little bit, though. This isn't going to be a Glaze Leonard Williams session only, because we need to talk about the best interior defensive lineman in the National Football League. I've already gone on a little bit of a monologue on Williams, but Bryon Murphy II is probably having the best sophomore season of any player in the National Football League, and he's completely reworked how a lot of us Seahawk fans and the national media, honestly, were talking about him, because there was a conversation about him kind of being a bust. When you look at both Leonard Williams and Bryon Murphy, they do it all. They're great additions in run stopping, which is always a plus with the interior defensive lineman, and most people expect that. But where it's the biggest addition is what they do when it comes to the passing attack of opposing teams. The top 2 sack guys on your team is Leonard Williams, defensive tackle. I know it says DN. That's what he's listed as. He's really a D tackle. He's got 7 sacks from a D tackle going at quarterbacks right up the middle. He gets doubled. It doesn't matter. He gets there. He's getting triple team. There's chip help from the running back. It doesn't stop him. When he's out on the outside at a D end position, they could throw a tight end to try and block him. It won't stop him. Leonard Williams is getting there. Bryon Murphy is tied with Leonard Williams in sacks. And he's coming from a nose guard spot. So that means he's coming at those quarterbacks from the heart of their offense. And he's going right through the middle, absolutely causing havoc and blowing everything else up for opposing offenses. And I think it's important to know this, and I think Uchenna Nwosu and DeMarcus Lawrence would agree with it as well. They are pushing sacks to those guys too. The quarterback feels pressure in their face, runs outside, and then gets sacked by DeMarcus Lawrence or Uchenna Nwosu or Drake Thomas. And the most impressive thing about the whole thing too, you're not having to blitz because you can get pressure with those 4. It's the most impactful type of pressure you can get, because you're only rushing 4. That means it's 4 on 5 and you're still winning. You can let 7 guys drop deep into coverage. Now opposing quarterbacks can't pick you off. You don't have to make sure that your blitz gets there fast enough, because you already have the guys in the position that need to be there. And you're getting it right in the face of the quarterback. And the minute the quarterback sees pressure in his face, his eyes go from looking downfield for an open target to looking down, because he doesn't want to get hit. Nobody wants to get hit. It's huge. Speaking of huge, the gap, not so much anymore. We're catching up to Dolphins today. They are the Chat Sports channel just ahead of us. Obviously, we're on the road to 100K, but how do we get there? We got to reel in that Dolphins crew. Inside of 2,000 subscribers, help us out. Come on in and subscribe to the channel. What you going to get? Free daily Seattle Seahawks content. Right now, these two, they're unblockable, man. Leonard Williams cannot be stopped. Bryon Murphy cannot be stopped. And I've already told you about what's going on and how they affect the game when it comes to the passing attack of opposing teams. But we have to dive into what they do best, and that's stopping the run. In just 1 second, because I need to let you know about our good friends over at Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It is all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. Prize Picks. New feature alert. Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. On Prize Picks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose Flex Play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the Power Play. No matter your play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. I have a nice little 3-pick Power Play for this weekend's action. JSN, more on his receiving yards. Kenneth Walker, more on his rush plus receiving TDs. Kirk Cousins, less on his pass yards. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. How many times this year have teams been in third and short, fourth and short? We saw it against the Minnesota Vikings. They were in a position after a Sam Darnold fumble to really make you pay and get in the end zone, make it a whole big deal. Then they didn't. Now, a lot of people, myself included, are going to point out DeMarcus Lawrence's great play. But what we aren't talking about is how on first, second, and third down, this defensive line, led by those two in the interior, did not let the Vikings running backs get the first down. Right now, the Seahawks are the best team in third and fourth and short when running backs get to carry the football in EPA. That's expected play adjusted, right? So basically, what are teams expected to get? Seahawks don't let them get that. You have the best interior defensive line in the National Football League. And it's doing a great job right now of stopping the run, forcing teams to pass, and then really pinning their ears back and getting after people. Bryon Murphy has maybe had the most impressive growth that we've ever seen from a rookie year to a sophomore year. He went from people saying he might be a bust to, hey, you got to have him in the conversation for top 3, 4, 5 defensive tackle / nose guard in the National Football League. The guy is unblockable, and he's made a huge difference in how this defense plays. Leonard Williams, he's the straw that stirs the drink right now when it comes to this defense. He's always in the backfield. He's always causing havoc. He's always allowing Ernest Jones, Drake Thomas, Tyrese Knight, Ty Okuda, Kobe Bryant, when they add in Nicky Manwari, Devin Witherspoon, he's allowing them to run free and make tackles. And they're doing a great job of it. But these two guys are what's doing the dirty work. And they're doing it at a high level, making everything go for this defense. And what's crazy about what you're doing is it makes me feel like the Legion of Boom days. What do I mean by that? Think about it. How do you win playoff games in the National Football League? When the weather is raining, when it's windy, when the weather sucks, snowy. You need defensive linemen to come in and make plays. Now, don't get me wrong. Those Legion of Boom defenses were great before. But what took them over the top was the signing of Michael Bennett and Cliff Averill. They were two players that could play on the outsides as well as on the interior. And they caused havoc, which allowed Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright, the rest of that crew to run free. And because they did that, you saw that defense go from a good and a pretty good defense to a Super Bowl winning type of defense. Long way to go. I'm a little over my skis. But you have two guys on the interior that allows me to start thinking like that. And we need to get a lot of love to those interior defensive linemen because they change everything for you when it talks about the goals and aspirations that you can reach, we can reach as Seahawk fans. Help us out. Make sure that you don't miss any Seahawks content, right? You love the Seahawks. I'm going to give you the news, whether it's good. If I need to pump their tires, I definitely will. If I need to let people know that there's some mistakes, there's some issues that need to be fixed, I'm going to do that too. Turn on the notifications. You don't want to miss anything going on with the Seahawks. By doing that, setting it to all, anytime we drop a video, you'll be notified and be able to tune right in. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch you guys next time.